as citizens on this earth. They should have the right to their own freedom, their own families, and their own life. John Feldman. Animals are an important part of this earth. Therefore, we should try and keep them here. Hi, my name is Kylie Terrell, and today I'll be talking to you about why we should protect endangered species. Today we will be discussing 4 important ideas of endangered species. And the first is what values they hold, how animals become endangered, some examples of endangered species, and how we can help conserve them. First, we will discuss some important values that endangered species have. The first value is the medicinal value. Many plants and animals benefit humans with medicine sources. Plants often contain thousands of important compounds that can lengthen a human lifespan. Whether these plants have been acknowledged yet or not, they still have that potential to help humans. For example, a scorpion its venom is used for brain tumor research, and a shark is used to study many forms of cancer and muscle degeneration. The next value is the agricultural value. Many animals have vital genes that are used to improve crops. Among those genes that scientists splice from DNAs of plants are pest or disease resistance, salt tolerance, and drought resistance. Animals have vital genes that can help humans. For example, geckos feed on pests and spiders prey on cockroaches. So this can definitely help if you have a farm life, and they can definitely help keep away certain species from your plants and fruits and whatever you are growing. The third value is the ecological value. Extinction can change a whole ecosystem. According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, one lost plant species can lead to the loss of 30 insects, plant, and other animal species found in the higher levels of the food chain. Although this may not be seen possible, it is. If I'm going to show an example of a food chain or a food web, that way you can see how every animal species or plant species relies on each other to live. In order for animals or plants to survive, they need to be able to interact with other species and one another. And removing one will compromise the life of another or many others. I got this all from simplyeducate.me. This is an example of an economical food chain. As you can see, there's a green plant at the right bottom, and mice, rabbits, and goats feed off of this green plant, and overall the lion ends up feeding off of all these animals in between. But if you take away the green plant, if that goes extinct, then the mice, rabbit, and goats won't have any resources to feed off of, as well as all these other animals above it won't be able to feed off of them. So the green plant overall helps all these others live and grow, and if they don't have that, then they could eventually become endangered. Now I'm going to be talking about how animal species or plant species can become endangered. The first is overhunting. There is a reason why, for example, deer season, there's a reason why they put limits on how many deer you can kill, because you don't want to overhunt and make a limited amount of deer out there. Next is loss of habitat. This often happens whenever people buy new land and they use it as a store, and so they have to put concrete and mess up the ground, or they take down a lot of trees for their new house. Pollution. This is a picture of air pollution. It doesn't have to be just air pollution. It can also be you throwing trash out your door. This can affect oceans as well as just the ground, animals, and plants. Next is a competition. Many animals have to compete with each other for resources, and human versus wildlife conflict is also a problem because animals and humans often compete against for their resources and space. Like I said, if they buy a new place, then the animals are getting their homes taken away from them. Another one is disease. If an animal gets a disease in one group, it can often spread to many other different species of animals, and eventually they can become endangered. And then if they have a low birth rate, sometimes animals, when they have a low birth rate, most of the time there's a few of the animals that end up dying because of problems. And so if it's already a low birth rate, then there's not many that end up living. And then some types are already rare species, and so they are already considered endangered because there's not very many of them. And then highly specialized species. This is whenever they have environmental conditions that they have to live in, or they have a limited diet. An example of that would be like penguins. They have to live in a colder area, as well as their diet would be different than a land animal. And I got all this off of greentumble.com. Next up is types of endangered species. One is a blue whale, as well as chimpanzees, a Malayan tiger, and the red panda. This is a picture of a Malayan tiger, and that's a blue whale. And then there's some that are more critical than others, and some of these species are the black rhino, the Amur leopard, and the orangutan. And I got this off of the worldwildlife.org. This is just a picture of a baby orangutan, and then this is a picture of an Amur leopard. This is a chart showing the number of threatened species is rising, and it only goes up to 2018, which is a couple years ago, but it's still pretty accurate. And the red down below is the mammals, the green are the reptiles, and the dark blue is the fish. And as you can see, the mammals have stayed pretty consistent throughout the years. And then the reptiles have grown a lot, as well as the fish. The fish has the biggest amount of growth in the threatened species. Now I'm going to talk to you about how to conserve them. Number one is reforestation. This is just replanting trees or any type of grass for them, and rehabilitation of degraded lands. This is just addressing erosion problems and the loss of fertility. Sustainable harvesting of timber and other natural products. This may be limit cutting down actual trees, and instead of cutting them down, maybe thinning them a little. And then pollution reduction and prevention, as well as waste reduction and management. And I got this off of animalstime.com. This is just a picture of before and after of reforestation. So before there's no trees, and after they did plant trees. It's very important that we try to help conserve the animals and their ecosystems, because with a well-balanced ecosystem, it helps to purify our environment. By doing the conservations that I talked about, it could help not only the animals, but also the humans and the world in general. And even though you might not live in Africa where all these animals are, you can still help conserve and help the animals around you. I highly encourage each and every one of you to take action, conserve for not only the animals, but for your world. The animals need your help, so before you go out and litter or cut down a tree, think of the animals and who would be affected by it. Thank you.
I'll show you, hold on.